Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today we've got another video for you that's sort of museum theory-y, and it's based on some questions we've gotten since our previous videos about the strip trip. This 50 caliber machine gun mount here by the quarterdeck is one of the things we were able to acquire on the strip trip we had last month over at the Philadelphia Navy Yard. This one I believe came off of USS Fort McHenry. Anyway, the question was, if you as a guest or as somebody interested in the ship brings an item and donates it to the ship. So that item is then accessioned into the museum's collection. Do we do the same thing with strip trip items like this that we go and we take from another ship and bring it on board? Well, the short answer to this question is no. If we had all the staffing and all the time in the world, then it would make sense to keep a record of every new thing coming onto the ship and where it came from. That's just not possible. Not with the staff we have here. So a lot of stuff ends up becoming institutional memory, i.e. I know exactly where this came from. I had to carry the thing off of there. But 10 years from now, when maybe I've moved on to another ship, my coworkers who were here at this time is gone and it's a new staff, and they're like, I don't know, this has been here the entire time I've been here. So, not ideal. So our rule of thumb around here is that once this is attached to the ship, like this has been bolted down, it is now a part of artifact 1943.001.001. The battleship herself. So rather than being a separate object, this has been used for the restoration of the ship. It is now a part of the ship. So for things like that, we attempt to keep it like material. This may not be the exact same make or model that was on the ship during our period of interpretation around 1990. But it all mates up, all the bolt holes line up. It is close enough. We know there was a 50 caliber mount here. We were able to acquire a Navy 50 caliber mount and put it back here. So for all intents and purposes, this is no longer a separate object. It is now part of the battleship. Now, in this instance, it's an object that is physically bolted down, but I'm looking if we have one nearby. We do not. But like, let's say a piece of damage control equipment, a dogging wrench or a biscuit wrench, some of these things that are not bolted down, they're just mounted there. All those things go missing all the time. We got the ship with very few of her originals on board. People took them as souvenirs. And they still disappear from time to time. People come on board and they take stuff off. So we lose things, we put new ones out. That's part of the reason why the Navy lets us do these strip trips, is to make up the things that we're missing, cost of doing business. But you know, that is the same type of dogging wrench that was there. It's a hollow piece of pipe. It was the same type of biscuit wrench. We're not going to catalog every individual piece. If we had our stuff together, we would love to. Like I said before, some museum ships are able to do that. I'm pretty sure Battleship Texas has everything not physically part of the ship cataloged individually. I saw object tags on toilet seats on that ship, and I was so jealous of them. And there are definitely a couple other ships that do have the ability to do that. So even when an object isn't physically bolted down like these guns are, and it's just like loosely hanging on its bracket, we still consider that it has now been returned to the ship in where it's supposed to be. We consider that being attached to the ship as well. Likewise, it doesn't have a physical place, but like we get a new chair. We were able to get something like 15 chairs off of one of these strip trips. Those chairs never get attached to anything, obviously. They don't work very well as chairs if you can't slide them in and out. But we're still considering them a part of the ship once we bring them on board and put them in the space that has the tables that need chairs. And again, maybe the right thing to do would be to catalog all of those with infinite resources, but we just can't do that. And part of the logic behind that is the Navy's own requirements when they let us on those ships. We're not allowed to take things and put them in display cases. We're not taking things off of USS Fort McHenry to make an exhibit on Fort McHenry. They don't want us taking parts from that. We're not allowed to. We are specifically there to take parts to restore our own museum ships. And so that's another part of the difference. The artifacts that are going to go in display cases, those are all accessioned and cataloged, and we know what shelf they're stored on or what exhibit they're in as they move in and out of exhibits and storage and things like that. Stuff mounted to the ship is not like that, which requires us to come up with some extra terminology, because in theory, you walk into the captain's cabin on this ship, it is displayed the way it would have been when the captain was on board. We call that an exhibit. You walk into a space with a bunch of display cases that talk about the history of the ship, also an exhibit. I'm talking more about that kind of display case exhibit versus a fully restored space that is now an exhibit space. A fully restored space, we're not going to catalog the chairs and the tables and things like that. But as we get more volunteers and things like that, we are going to work towards cataloging what's in there, documenting everything that's on board the ship and where it came from. Hopefully we get enough volunteers that we can do this while folks like myself and many of my coworkers who have this institutional memory are still around. So things that go into the collection space, cataloged. Things that go out in display cases, cataloged. Things that are in our spare parts room that we took off of strip trips, not cataloged, not considered artifacts. Things that then get mounted back onto the ship, be they original to the ship or not cataloged and not considered artifacts. Clear as mud? I love talking about this sort of museum theory stuff. Feel free to drop your questions in the comment section down below. That's where we got the idea for today's video. And we're never going to run out of video ideas, even going 5 days a week, if you guys keep asking questions like these. So let us know what your next museum-y question is, and we'll answer it in a future video. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State. Also a number of businesses and private individuals. We really appreciate their support, and while we receive no financial support from the Navy, they do give us support to go out and take parts like these about once a year, and we really appreciate that too. You can support us at the donation link in the description below, or by liking, sharing, and subscribing so that more people find about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.